Taurus. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know I'm late on posting your video for your reading. But guys, like the problem is make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you would like to tip me, please make sure to leave me a tip. The link is down in the description box below or up top, depending on what platform this is on. So please don't forget that. But I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know a couple of things. I already have your rites, rituals, spell work, and incantations based on unconditional love and messages from Mother Isis posted already on Patreon. You can find the links to that. They will be good all the way to the end of May / early June for your zodiac sign. You guys got, I at least gave y'all one rite, one ritual, and spell work or incantation, or two of both, and then gave you something else, and substitutions as well. Also, I just did the full moon reading in Scorpio. Please make sure to check that out. And if you have access in that tier on Patreon, or mainly on Patreon, yeah, because the full moon in Libra has already been posted. So if you have access to that tier on Patreon, make sure to post. Check that out if you can. Check that post out is what I'm trying to say. And watch that video, because as we lead into that energy, we will lead into Scorpio's energy. So that Libran energy is still kind of carrying over a little bit. So let's go ahead and get into your Fae blessings. Now, this month I am not just doing Fae blessings, okay? I am doing Dragon Oracle, baby. I am doing Dragonfae Oracle, baby. And I'm doing the Fae blessings. I'm coming in a little hot with these because Mercury Retrograde really likes to mess with me every time I do video content on YouTube. Don't really know why that is. He just does. And I'm really tired of him pranking me. So because I'm tired of it, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to post the video. And once I do, I will just upload it and be done with it for 4 weeks. So I will be still accepting personal sessions. My links are down in the description box for that. And I will be available until May 27th, basically Memorial Day weekend. The reading is, the reason for that is because one of my siblings is getting married and I am now in the wedding, and I have to take those 2 weeks off to meet family, help with the preparations. I got to go get my dress hemmed. Like, it's a whole thing. So I will not be available from Memorial Day to June 17th. After that, I will be back up for readings and sessions. But during that time, while I am not available and you catch my content, you can still send me a tip. That link will be up, okay? So this reading is actually going to cover you guys from the time that I am absent on all of these platforms to the time I come back. And hopefully I will be somewhat rested. So give me just a second. It's been a very chaotic week, especially with what's come out in the country the last couple of days. So, like, I don't know how else to describe it other than I am just as frustrated as everyone else right now, but I know the divine is going to come through for us. I just know it will. So let's go ahead, Taurus, and get some awesome Dragonfae Oracle wisdom from my dragon totems, because they are so wise and they see things from every perspective, and they can kind of always snap me out of these shoddy moods. And, you know, Mercury's just doing his job in retrograde. And like I've been saying, Uranus was going to expand on that mischief. And I was right. And Mars still is active, but being a little lax right now in our actions. Okay. Interesting. Oh my God, Taurus. Hold on. I'm going to put that one up right because it tried to go up right. So, all right. I'm not really liking this message in the beginning, but we're still in the first week of retrograde, so I'm not really surprised. Like, retrograde literally started yesterday. Okay, so another dragon up in the upright. That's good. That's what I like to see. Okay, and we have two other dragons here. Taurus, I only gave everybody just as many that came up, so don't worry. You're going to get to keep these messages. Now, I want to see why the golden solar dragon is here in reverse. I swear, every time I touch these dragon oracle card readings, my fingertips sometimes feel like they're on fire. It's just kind of how, like, that's their way of letting me know, like, they're here. Anyway, so I wanted to go ahead and go through this part. Now, this card talks about, in terms of dragon wisdom, let your DNA be reprogrammed and light codes activated. Become an inspired leader. Now, with this in reverse, leadership, I'm not saying leadership isn't your strong suit, Taurus, but you guys tend to take the lead when things are ready to be taken over. And Scorpio is usually the one to like do all the planning, and you guys kind of follow suit, and then they are like, here, take the reins, I gotta go do something else. And you're like, okay, I got it, you know, because everything's been set up. You're kind of being called to come out of your comfort zone this week of planning and preparation being done for you, and you having to really hone in on doing that. Now, I am going to pull a dragon card. Sorry, not just a dragon card, but a Dragonfae oracle to clear up what the message is on this, because to me, you're being called to be a leader in something and to reactivate your light codes, but that's so general. That could mean anything. So hang on just a second. My beautiful dragon oracle, my Dragonfae. Show me for Taurus. What is it Mercury Retrograde is trying to help them work on with this golden solar dragon energy in reverse? Now, reversals in these decks are not necessarily bad, especially with this one, because it means like you're not ready to take that on yet, but you're almost there. So that's why I'm pulling with the Dragonfae, because the Dragonfae will give you the message that you need to just go there. So hang on just a second here. Ooh. All right, we got Dry Stand, the Trickster. That's definitely Mercury Retrograde right there. One more directional message for the Tauruses. Show me for Taurus. What is, okay, I'm not taking that. That means you're not ready for it. Oh, okay. Oh, and we got this one in reverse. I'm sorry, not reverse, neutral. Okay. Let's pull one directional energy for Taurus. There we go. Oh, the Lady Titania. Oh yeah, I love working with this card. Okay, so we have some upright cards. Now, Dry Stand is the card of the trickster. He's the trickster fae. He's kind of, he gives you these unseelie, unsettly kind of energies, but what he really is talking about, it says, look beneath the surface. Now, with this card talks about masks. It talks about lies. It talks about illusion. That's exactly what Mercury does in retrograde. That's why I say this is always going to be my Mercury retrograde card when it comes up during retrograde, because it's like, it's also about like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know, in terms of like, you know one evil, but you don't know the other. And so because you don't know the other evil, you choose to stay with the one that you do know, because it's like a double-edged sword, you know, kind of thing of sticking with what you know, even though it hinders you, versus let's say you were to face that other, you know, villain, right? Let's say you were to face it and you were able to easily defeat it and get yourself out of the situation you're in. But because it's unknown, you're afraid to confront it. And you think the other one's easier, but it's actually harder. And so it's like there's that. That's why I say it's like a double-edged sword of walking a fine line of, this isn't just about like looking beneath the surface in others, but you're being called to look in the surface with yourself, Taurus. And you know, this is why I think it's perfect that there's a full moon in Scorpio happening. It's an eclipse too. It's forcing you to not only go within. This is usually someone that is exterior to you, but I think you need to reevaluate your relationship with them completely, because you're going to find more and more people are with you either out of convenience, or it is what you can provide. But where is the emotional give and take for you? This is what you need to do your research on. And two, you've got, because once these people are revealed, Taurus, they go away. Like they can't wear their mask around you anymore. Or it's like, okay, well, now I know the mask that they wear, so they can't play this role with me anymore. Instead, it has to change. And that's exactly, as I just did the Scorpio reading, we talked about change, transformation, Pluto playing its role in Capricorn. Like there was a lot of astrological stuff that actually popped up in that reading. Even though I only meant for it to be tarot, it became astrology and tarot. Isn't that how it always goes? Now, this card is actually in neutral, and I have worked with this card one time. Now, this is Shi Yang, B, Light of Heart, but it's neutral. So this energy is kind of like a fun dragon energy in terms of like being full of light, not focusing on darkness, being full of love. But since he's neutral, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It means like good and positive energy, but this guy can't totally come in to bring you the life that I think you're looking for with this love and this happiness and this joy and being light apart and being childlike, because, well, we're currently having to unmask and deal with these people like this in our everyday life, and also in the lives like trying to influence us all. And so that's just Mercury's job. So it's kind of like he gets it. He understands we can't have this totally in the upright without dealing with this first. And so once this is revealed by the end of the first week, we will be able to move forward. And how do we do that? This is my favorite card in the whole deck. It's actually the cover of the box too. It is the Lady Titania. Now, Titania is a fae spirit, actually out of Shakespearean play from Midsummer Night's Dream. But Titania, according to Lucy Cavendish and her book, isn't just, she is a goddess, but she is also a like fairy queen. She's a fairy queen of the night and of dreams. And on top of that, magic and mysticism. And so it's like, oh, okay, but it's not just any mysticism. This is like Lady Titania essentially has to deal with, I wouldn't just say fairy magic, but according to Lucy Cavendish and her book, which I do have, she talks about being connected to goddess energy. So this is, and specifically with the moon and the goddess Diana, Mother Isis. I do the Isis oracle reading. So if you want to check that out on Patreon, hit me up there. You know, with Mother Isis, then you have, she named like a bunch of goddesses. I'm going to go to that page because I don't want to leave anyone out because they were very important. And it's so funny because it's a 5 card. And 5s are all about changes. Usually in the tarot, 5s are about changes through either, and it's Scorpio energy, changes through chaos or rebirth or death, right? But in terms of divine feminine, when divine feminines bring change, it's usually through, sometimes they're genteel, the goddesses, sometimes they are, mostly they are. But when they have to go into this divine feminine power and be scary like Persephone, oh, it brings massive change. And everybody is deathly afraid of Persephone, especially in the ancient world. You know why? Do you know why? Because she brings endings. She brings them. She's like, I am for it, baby. Put me on the A-list. Hell yeah. You know, like, I love working with Persephone. She's so cool. Like, I feel like she like vibes me up. You know how you have people who like turn you up? Persephone is one of those goddesses that turns me up in terms of like pregame, you know, like that kind of context of like, yeah, like it's like that. I don't mean to laugh, I promise. I'm taking this serious, Taurus, but in terms of like how these energies work and what they're like, you know, Persephone during a full moon in Scorpio is very much going to be on her A game. And also, like I said, we have Pluto going retrograde in Capricorn. So that Pluto and Persephone are together on this earth right now, bringing endings and new beginnings. But Pluto is in charge of necessarily bringing the better, and she is about the renewal, right? So it's kind of funny how that works, right? And so the goddesses that Lucy Cavendish actually mentions, I'm going to quote her book. It's she's talking about how the Dragonfae also came into being and who they were also born of the divine and their fathers and their mothers, which basically includes Saturn, Rhea, Oceanus, Hyperion, and the others. And Ovid's Metamorphosis, Titania is another name for Diana, as well as the other goddesses of the night, queens of the shadowy world, which Persephone is one of those, ruling over the mystic elements and powers. So there is no separation. The Titans are the goddesses and the goddesses are the Dragonfae, like Isis, who personified the feminine generative principle of universal nature. Diana and all the others are nature goddesses. So rather than being a diminutive creature of delicacy and daintiness, Titania is tall, very powerful, and very strong. Oh yeah, she's elven. So I just want to let people know there are fairy folk and the fae folk, And elves fall in that line somewhere, and so do the mermaids. Some of the mer people and merfolk, they are also of the Fae. As it says, they came from Oceanus. Oceanus was the very first primordial being of water, before Neptune and Poseidon. So just so people know. Now, this is the thing. Fae, in terms of the elves, they're more connected to Earth than I think the fairy or the pixies, because gnomes too. Gnomes are like the Earth Fae, they're very connected to the Earth because it is their realm. But the other Fae, like the water and the air, they're more connected to those elements, but they are still connected to Mother Earth herself on Gaia. So this is also a card of celebration and celebrating yourself. This talks about having, it says, according to the book, there is no true happiness without joy in being who you are, which it is your birthday season. Oh, this also talks about the next moon cycle and the 28 days coming. How many opportunities you will have to play, revel, dance, and explore the moonlight and joyful part of yourself that has truly been neglected for a long time. This is where you come forth from the place where you've taken shelter in a quiet time and partake of the joy of good, sweet company. Know that everyone, including the beings of the Dragonfae, are delighted and happy to know of your ability to delight in your own self. Celebrate, and we celebrate you. Hail, joyful kindred spirit, and be welcome to the feast. So that's actually kind of interesting, because I have not worked with this card directly, but I have pulled it before. And when I did, I saw at a time in my life, there was just so much joy coming through that it was, even though I wasn't where I wanted to be, I was still able to focus on my personal growth and my happiness and not let that, bother me, that aspect of not being where I am bother me or ruin my day. You know what I mean? It was like I could still just enjoy my time. Now, this is how you're going to be able to get through this first week of May. So Mercury retrograde started technically May 3rd. So go count 7 days on your calendar, and that's where this energy is going to start to come through, about 4 days after. And then you'll be able to work with these other dragons. Now, the other dragons, you have the air and water dragon. You as an earth sign, kind of, Mercury is muddling you up a little bit. He's dusting you around, Taurus, and, taking the earth and throwing you about. And so if instead of fighting it, go with it. And then let yourself, if you get thrown into the water, go in with your emotions and go rediscover something about yourself and how you feel. And sorry, it's again, wedding stuff. I apologize, guys, but I want you guys to immerse yourself, in the water and feel those feelings in a healthy way, right? That's what we want. And this is about trusting your intuition and also developing your psychic abilities, because that's what the water is about. Be open to enlightenment, express your inner song. Now, psychic ability and water, again, Taurus, this is where you're going to look at your signs of Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Scorpio full moon is pushing you guys to expand on this development. It also happened with Libra too, which I thought was really odd. But I mean, the 12th house is, I'm sorry, their second house of inner security and stability is Scorpio, right? So kind of interesting. Now, this is week 2. So this is the thing. You don't have to hurry, rush, and develop a psychic ability, by the way, guys. I want to make that clear. Develop it safely. Give it time. Do your research. Don't just hurry up and develop it. No, let it progress naturally. That is the best part about being psychic mediumship and dealing with psychic mediumship, is if you rush it, it will stop. If you don't and you trust the process, it will develop further, and you will get better faster and faster, right? And quicker and better and smarter, and it will work smarter for you and not harder. So that's why I say take your time with this. Go develop it all the way throughout June. Don't put it necessarily into place in your everyday go-to thing right now. Give it time, because Mercury retrograde isn't about starting new routines. It's about reviewing what we've already done and seeing how that's going for us, right? And your psychic abilities, if you are very in tune with them, like myself, I am, trust me, they'll be able to save you from a lot of stuff when you go back and you do this reviewing process with Mercury retrograde. Now, week 3. I have the black dragon. This dragon cocoons you so that your divine potential grows. Meditate, reflect, undergo a metamorphosis. Definitely full moon and Scorpio vibes, this card right here. Now, Taurus, I am going to tell you, this to me always gives me like Four of Swords vibes, you know, in terms of like rest, relax, do your incense, take a spa day, especially with what's going on right now in terms of like the world. The world is collapsing, and as it collapses, we get more and more exhausted. But truly, it's not a full collapse. It's just a collapse of what we know. And the truth is Pluto is going to come in and do the work. Also, the other divine deities, they're going to come in and do the work. And so we cannot always be on guard. When it is time for us to give something to them, it is time for us to give it to them so we can relax. This is what I want you to focus on as we transition out of your sign, because that full moon in Scorpio will take place during your sign. And then as we transition out and we go into Gemini, I want you to rest. I want you to relax. I want you to go have fun, despite everything going on in the world. I want you to go have fun. It is still your birthday season, god dang it. So go have fun. Don't let this Mercury retrograde ruin it for you. And I'm saying this personally because I've had this happen to me 6 years ago. And believe me, it wasn't a cakewalk. My boss, my ex-boss, fired me 2 weeks before my 25th birthday because he just didn't like that I was helping people. And he really didn't. And also he was an opioid addict. And I think he was worried that I was going to tattle on him, but that wasn't any of my business, right? It wasn't. And so the thing is he fired me 2 weeks before my 25th birthday. He made sure I couldn't go to Vegas. He made sure, like, you know, I couldn't get a job right before the holidays. I lost my apartment 2 months later. I was forced to go then move in with a friend who then turns out to be addicted to alcoholism. So, and they were quite abusive and narcissistic. They would lock me out of the house. Like, for the last 6 years, I have dealt with people like this. And now that's why I'm saying, like, every time around my birthday, whether I'm with people who just don't like what I do and they try to sit there and stop me and make my life hard, I take the time to enjoy the moments and rest and relax, because that is what keeps me sane. That is not only what keeps me sane, that is what keeps me going. And that is very important, Taurus. I want you to understand that, because you get the sensual. I don't have to talk to you about, oh, focus on yourself and be sensual. I have to have that talk with Pisces, but not with you, Taurus. But I have to have the talk of, we can get overly stimulated and we need to back off. Okay, because if we don't, then, you know, what happens with you is you become like a little raging bull or scared bull, and you run around and you're all over the place. Nobody can calm you down except someone who is willing to battle the bull. And so that's why it's like, but you've got to break that cycle. You have to break the cycle. That is why Uranus is in your sign right now. It's about expanding and freedom and learning how to overcome these issues from these lower leveled energies going into these higher vibrational energies. And so when you feel yourself getting overworked, when you feel yourself getting overstimulated, that's when you need to say, okay, it's time I back off. It's time I take a break. I'm getting worked up. I'm getting upset. I'm getting angry, and nothing good really is going to come from that right now if I can't do anything about it. But I accept those feelings because they enlighten me to want to become better. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you become enlightened and you're like, okay, my anger is valid. I am allowed to be angry. I'm not saying don't be angry. I'm just saying you're allowed. But if you're not in a position where you can healthily express it, don't stuff it in. Try to find an outlet that you can healthily express yourself, express that rage, express it in a way that is conducive to you, instead of you just lashing out and then just, you know, like railing everyone over. Because right now, how you play this is going to determine a couple of things when Saturn moves into Pisces in June. You know, like, we need to think of that, because now what we do, what we say, it's going to have karma attached to it and behind it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, be mindful of that and know, oh, okay, hold on. Karma, where is the karmic justice in this, right? Like, where, because the divine is listening to me. And this dragon just wants to shield me right now to protect me, so I don't have to be on guard. I know karma's going to get them. Let me rest and relax now. That's what I need you to focus on, Taurus. Now, you also have, and that's week 3 as the full moon goes into Scorpio. Now, your last week, you do have the orange gold dragon from Arcturus. Opens you up to knowledge of the golden age. This is where I'm going to tell you, and this came up for another sign. Go research golden age Greek mythology. And then I want you to do the same thing for whatever pantheon you follow or have interest in outside of Jewish and Judaic Christianity. Reason being is because you'll find so many interesting stories and you'll find so much wisdom in them. And this is about to carry you into the energy of the future and to be a guiding light. So you will learn profound lessons from this. Also, I have here the green golden dragon from Sirius. So you have 2 starseed Sirius planets, you know, in your reading. So either some of you come from Arcturus or some of you come from Sirius. I actually do come from Sirius B, by the way. There's Sirius A and Sirius B. I come from Sirius B. So hello to my old Syrians out there, you know, from the planets of Sirius. And so actually, funny story, Mother Isis, where is my Isis Oracle deck, y'all? Oh, here she is. She is actually from there too. So if you feel called to work with her, join me on Patreon as we go through the rites, ritual, spell work, and incantations from Mother Isis. That being said, this talks about bringing universal knowledge to your spiritual pathway. Learn about spiritual technology, be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. Now, spiritual technology, great examples would be like sacred geometry, crystals, crystal grids, spell work, modern spell casting abilities, things like that. Those are something you might actually end up learning from those mythologies actually, or mention like, oh, the rite or some type of element that is associated with maybe a deity or a ritual or how you can connect to them. So give me just a second, guys, because I'm going to go ahead and pull from your Fae blessings. There's like so much here, so many boxes, so little time. So give me just a second, guys, while I go ahead and pull this up. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Show me for Taurus, my beautiful Fae beings of the Sealy Court. What is coming through for Taurus? Not only what is coming through for them, but what is the Fae blessing that they will have all throughout the month of May? Show me, please, Taurus. Show me for Taurus. Okay, we got 2, 3. Okay, we won't take that. It's in reverse. That's not a blessing. And we won't take that. That's in reverse. That's not a blessing. But we will take the one that we do have in the upright. And again, you got the Fae blessing of a blessing of time. Okay, so this is actually interesting because the Fae do control time in terms of they know how to transverse it very well. Time's going to start to move fast. But you can also ask and invoke these Fae beings of the Sealy Court to help slow down time, especially if you're in a rush. Sometimes they'll do that for you. Sometimes, depends on how early you leave your house, but they can do it. But this also talks about timelines, realms, and dimension. And again, rest. This is a card of rest and relaxation. When you're resting and relaxing and enjoying yourself, you forget about time completely. But timing to the Fae, it's mainly tied to the seasons, but also in terms of like the Fae themselves and other realms, timelines, and dimensions, like they have total control about transversing those. So if you need to like go from one dimension to the other, depending on the dimension of what you want to do, now is the time to work on that and time to move that forward so they can help you do that during Mercury when it is direct, because Mercury retrograde and moving things forward as far as like a new start usually gets put on hold anyway. But if you need to review something in time, especially in the astral realm, in your dreams, the Fae can help bless you by helping you review things if you need that in time. So that's kind of actually interesting. Oh, also a blessing of time talks about divine timing. So this is definitely divine timing at work in your love and romance life. And sorry, not just your love and romance life, but your daily life. But it was funny because I was pulling a rune for myself, and I actually got something similar, a very cryptic message. And the runes I pulled were both runes of Odin. I pulled the blank rune, the rune of destiny, and I pulled Awaz, which is also a rune of Odin. And so I got a similar message about time, timelines, and dimensions, but those were mainly tied to him. But he was trying to tell me about fate and destiny, and that there are things that some things are set into place we cannot change. And I didn't quite understand what he was talking about till everything got revealed recently. But he did say that destiny is meant to work for all of us and not to hinder us. And it is about being a part of our path, which I thought to be interesting, because the Fae, in terms of how they work with destiny, is a little bit different, because their destinies are mostly tied to Gaia and Mother Earth. So, which affects everybody on every other realm, timeline, and dimension, because our realm, even though it is the 3D, there are 40, 5D, 60. We are the baseline that gets the higher vibrations up and going. We're also the plane where we can manifest to so many exponential potentials, because we are conduits for that, right? And the Fae are also conduits of that, but they are able to tap into higher forms of magic because they understand frequency, timelines, and dimension, and how it all affects destiny, as well as not just ours, but the whole galactic destiny and all other realms, timelines, and dimensions. So I'm just pointing this out, Taurus, that you might want to start to think about when you're manifesting. Are you what exactly, what dimension are you trying to manifest to? One, which is, I never really asked this question, but like, I'm going to go ahead and ask it to you. Two, is the dimension that you're in right now matching the frequency you want? And if you're like, well, no, it's not, how do I change that? This is where you can ask them to show you what you need to bring in your dreams, of how to bring the change to bring you the answer to manifest into the other dimensions. What is it you're trying to do? So that is what I have for you, Taurus. Happy birthday. I love you so very much. This was a lot of fun. I love doing these readings. Like, they're so great. And if you want to, again, book a session with me, please do so. If you want a recorded session with me, please go ahead, get one. Just go to my calendar, click the time that you wanted me for an appointment, just set that as your delivery time, and I will send you your video link. So other than that, I love you so very much. I am wishing you the happiest of birthdays. I know what it's like to have your birthday kind of be squashed by Mercury retrograde, and what it's like, because remember that I was telling y'all like what it was like for me when I turned 25. Yeah, that happened during a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. It sucked, but I am a better person for it in a very weird way to admit that. But I did want to go ahead and point that out. So I am going to leave it here, my loves. I've got to do Virgo's reading. I love you guys so very much. Leave me a tip, like, share, and subscribe. And until we speak again, you've got this. I trust you. Trust the process, Taurus. That's one thing I need you to do, is trust the process. Talk to you later. Bye.